Kenya has begun prosecuting police officers for crimes against humanity, including the murder of a baby during post-election violence in 2017. It is the first time law enforcers are being charged with international crimes in the East African country. On October 24th, 4 police officers, members of the dreaded Special Services Unit, were charged with the disappearance of 3 men whose bodies were never found. The unit, which has since been disbanded, was notorious for disappearances and killings. According to the prosecutor's office, these are the first cases of crimes against humanity charged under Kenyan law. The new UN High Commissioner for Human Rights welcomed the decision of the Kenyan judicial authorities. In 2017, incumbent President Uhuru Kenyatta was declared the winner of the election, but his main opponent, Raila Odinga, pointed to fraud and challenged the results. Demonstrations by Odinga's supporters were suppressed by the police. The Kenyan Human Rights Commission had documented 94 deaths, 201 cases of sexual violence, and more than 300 injuries, attributed mainly to law enforcement. On a sandy field on the banks of Abidjan's Ebola Lagoon, youngsters dribbled in the sand, 2 tires serving as an improvised goal post. They're playing Maracana, a kind of 6-a-side soccer born on Ivorian campuses some 50 years ago. The boys belong to the Xenox de Trècheville club. They dream of one day becoming famous football stars. I'm training to become like Ronaldo later on. The national team trained from the multi-purpose hall of the Trècheville Sports Park. Although it looks and feels every inch like football, Maracana players insist the 2 disciplines are fundamentally different. I played at Stade de l'Afrique and then at an international level in Burkina Faso. I switched to Maracana after the end of my career. It has become so difficult to be a professional that I think Maracana is a platform that can help many young people. This day, the head of the Ivorian Maracana Federation is in the stands to watch the national team train. Ivory Coast are also the African champions after defeating Cameroon at the 9th edition held in September. For us, there is no retirement. From the age of 15, 12, 10, you can play Maracana, as long as your capacity allows you to do so, even until you're 90 years old. Our goal is to make Maracana an Olympic sport in the years to come. While it is impossible to date the invention of Maracana with precision, experts believe that the rules were born in the 70s on the campuses of Ivory Coast.
Cyprus police fired tear gas Friday after a fire broke out in an overcrowded migrant reception center amid clashes sparked by an argument between different nationalities. One person needed hospital treatment after being injured at the Punara camp for migrants on the edge of the capital, Nicosia. People hurled rocks and objects at each other, forcing many to flee in panic, and firefighters rushed to extinguish a blaze that sent billowing smoke into the sky. Tensions later calmed. Cypriot news outlets Philin News said clashes broke between asylum seekers from the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, and Nigeria, 2 of the largest migrant groups in Cyprus. European Union member Cyprus says it is on the front line of the bloc's irregular migration flows and last year reported the highest number of asylum applicants per population. South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa and visiting Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez have agreed to strengthen bilateral relations between their countries. Ramaphosa told reporters at a joint news conference with Sanchez on Thursday that there was consensus between the 2 countries about the effects of climate change on the continent.
South Africa and Spain agree that climate change, the loss of biological diversity and other environmental challenges must be addressed within the context of sustainable development, particularly for those who are in areas that are vulnerable and will be negatively affected by the transition that we foreseen.
Prime Minister Sanchez said now more than ever, Spain was determined to deepen its relations with the African continent as the two shared many common challenges. And specifically, we are going to make available to South Africa an amount of up to $2.3 million over the next 5 years. This figure will be channeled through our different public funding instruments and with the aim of accompanying Spanish companies in the implementation of the development plans of the South African government. South Africa and Spain enjoy warm relations and have cooperations in the areas of education, science and technology, defense, arts and culture, and sports.
At least 6 school children tested positive for the Ebola virus in Uganda's capital, with one of them succumbing to the disease, whose cases have been on the rise in the country. The children are from 3 different schools which have been placed under lockdown. The health ministry has said the cases were contacts of a victim who died from the disease.
It is true that we have one case. Unfortunately, as I speak right now, this child passed on yesterday evening. Unfortunate. Of course, before the child passed on, the KCCA medical team was here to ensure that they put in place what the Ministry of Health requested for, to ensure that we can curb the spread of the Ebola.
The outbreak has sent fear among the communities surrounding the schools. The heads of the schools say they have had to deal with increasing levels of stigma since the positive cases were identified.
We are becoming a nuisance to the community. People are fearing coming closer to us. When they see you, they run away. They think you have Ebola. So the ministry should, together with the government, do a lot to sensitize the public.
The health ministry has blamed the escalation of the virus on Ugandans who are shying away from hospitals. This shopkeeper says she's had to reduce contact with the school children for fear of catching the virus.
I stopped selling those eats, and whoever is coming to buy something, I be far away from that person.
The Ugandan government declared an Ebola outbreak in the central district of Mubende on September 20th after a 24-year-old man tested positive.